Okay, Mr. LaFond. uh, Obviously, one of the big things you stress is that people carry items with them. When you think of defending yourself, people will go, "Why would you bother learning to box?" Right? Boxing is by itself no match for the MMA athletes in the cage. On the street, guys have knives and guns. Right? Um, Boxing has seems to be very limited in its application, or so it would seem. Now, I don't feel that way, obviously. I guess just explain that, and then maybe we'll show a little something further back.
Um, one, I would do this in a few different segments. One, we can show some drills that you can do with a non-combatant. Um, the other one would be the reasons why you box. I guess we could do that first, but more importantly, most Americans, most people in the birthplace of modern boxing, Great Britain, except for the Irish, most people believe that boxing is useless or worse for self-preservation and even masculine development, and that karate, the superior scientific arts of the Orient, are the way to defend yourself when you don't have a weapon. And like I said, we could do another video on why this is, because you're going to have to overcome this if you're looking for people to train with, if you're even looking for space to train, if you're trying not to get divorced because you're taking up a psychotic pursuit. These are things that reflect in the Anglo-American genome and are very much embedded in gun culture. But to the immediate point, why it's good to learn how to box in preparation for something that is in no ways a boxing match. I'm of the opinion that nobody who has learned how to box should ever agree to a mutual combat, should ever agree to fight another person. Because if they're decent at boxing and this begins to happen, the other person's friends will possibly decide the day, or the other person will just stab you or shoot you. That's, I would, if I had a 30-year-old man decided to punch me in the face, I would not box him. I would stab his guts out.
Oh,
Okay, I would butcher him. Okay, so why boxing is a good preparation for survival, legitimate self-defense, nothing to do with a mutual combat. And this is the problem with all Asian-based martial arts, is they are all based heavily on mutual ritualized combat. Very much like the American gunfighter tradition in old westerns was. In boxing, the very thing that people find offensive about it is that it is not skill-based enough. For instance, the man that's recording me here measures himself at like 10% of the boxer that I am, okay? Now,
who's that?
if we actually went at it under boxing rules, he would probably knock me out in about 2 minutes, okay? This is the knock on boxing, is that it's Darwinistic, and an inferiorly skilled boxer can and often do defeat boxers with much more experience and skill. Okay, so this criticism is the seat of the benefit of boxing to the self-defense practitioner and survivalist, because boxing teaches you how to function while you are concussed, while you are being hit in the brain stem, while your whole nervous system is being shocked. Boxing teaches you how to function on automatic pilot. Both of us, neither one of us were ever good boxers. Okay, I was never a good boxer. I turned out to be a good boxing coach. Both of us have been attacked by groups of men and beaten up, and we have survived these attacks based on the fact that of the truth that's at the center of boxing, that combat is not about skill, it is about will. And a high time preference individual of whatever make, as soon as his will is tested, he will usually be looking for the door. So I have prevented ongoing attacks from people who just hit me. I was good at taking a punch. I had a fellow hit me, punched me in the face, and I just looked at him and did not get angry. And he couldn't get out of there quick enough, because according to even every John Wayne movie, when you punch somebody, they fall over. There's all these tropes. Every modern superhero movie, 105-pound hot chick punches a big muscle-bound stuntman, falls over, knocked out, dead, whatever. So when you discover that even if you're the best boxer in the gym, you're still being hit hundreds of times every time you spar, then you discover that getting hit is not a big deal. And in a society where it's patently stupid and insane to engage in mutual combat with somebody that is not your friend or not involved in the same sport, in which over 90% of attacks, 90% of violence are attacks, they're not mutual combats. They're perpetrated by younger, larger, more numerous people with very minimal empathy for you. Chances are your trip to the ATM machine is not going to end in a mutual combat where one of you's in a boxing stance and the other one's in a wrestling stance. It's going to end while you're putting your card away and you get hit in the back of the ear by somebody that's behind you, and then their buddy shoves you down and then he starts stomping you. So if your induction into unarmed self-defense was skill-based, everything has already ended, because there's no skill-based answer for this. People that make their living selling skill-based answers will take my scenario and charge a lot of money teaching you how to get out of this situation once you've been sucker punched and pushed down and you're getting stomped. But boxing will teach you through its own senseless brutality that getting kicked in the chin while you're sitting on your ass wondering what happened to your wallet while you're looking up at two guys you didn't know existed 5 minutes ago, it'll teach you that that's not a big deal, that that is the beginning of the altercation. So a boxing match begins precisely where every karate or other martial arts self-defense scenario, precisely where that ends in disaster. That's where boxing begins. So this is why there ended up being a movement of dissident martial artists when I was a little boy from different backgrounds who decided that in order to make their Asian-based martial art work, they had to mix in boxing. So the best benefit is it teaches you how to overcome a situation that begins with you being hit hard enough that it disorients you. It also teaches you that the thing that's compromising about getting hit is not pain. It's disorientation and overcoming that, which is something that people who have not boxed do not believe. They think it's a matter of pain. I always had slow hands. I would not even put my hands up at the beginning of a match or sparring because I knew I was going to get hit more than the other guy, and I just wanted to get the only painful shot out of the way, which was the first one. After that, it's like being in a dentist chair after you got the Novocaine. It's no big deal. Okay, so it's basically that. The recommendation for boxing is that it's a way to learn how to function after you have been sucker punched, ambushed.